Hello and welcome to the Knit Sip Happy Podcast. My name is Nancy and I'm coming to you from the east coast of Canada, just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. Welcome. It is Monday, November 27th. Today, as I'm recording, looking out the window, it is the end of November. It is gloomy. It is dark. I've got all of the lighting on today. The colors look okay, so we are going with it. I also haven't talked to anybody today. I've been home alone. So, okay, I'm already off. I forgot to say this last time. I'm going to try and remember to get all this intro stuff done before I flare off. You can find all of the links and descriptions down below in the description box. If you click more, you'll see all of the notes. There'll be clickable links where I can put them. I am Knit Sip Happy everywhere on Instagram, Ravelry, Facebook, and I also have an email address. So that will be linked. I'll try and put it on the screen here as well. And yes, welcome. If you're new to me, thank you for trying me out. If you've been around for a while, you know what's coming. Again, I say this all the time, I'm going to try and keep it to a reasonable length, but we'll see how we do. How are you all doing? Yeah, we'll do some chit chat later on. So we'll try to get right into the knitting content. So if you're not interested in the chit chat, you can just leave me later on. Notes. I have just got an easy drinking white wine today. It's a Riesling blend just because I still have things to do. So I was looking for something a little lower alcohol today. I've got some house chores to do because it's a Monday. My husband is out at work this morning, so I'm home alone, but he may be home. I've got the door open, so hopefully I don't overheat because what I'm wearing, it is the first finished object, and it's a DK sweater, and I don't want to close the door and melt down, as I tend to do on these podcasts lately. So I'm just going to push my chair back and stand up and give you a little tour. This is my field sweater. If you've been around, you've seen this as a whip for the last 6-7 weeks in various stages, and it is done, and I've worn it out in the world a couple of times, and I love it. So let me get my chair out of the way and I'll stand up and we'll show you what we've got here. Whoops. Okay, there we go. So messy desk, messy craft room. As I said last time, there's lots of things going on in the background, and cleaning up my craft room is low on the priority list. So this is my field. I got this funny little bump here from, I'm assuming, when it was folded, but so this is the field sweater by Camilla Vad with this beautiful grain yoke. And I have finished mine. I did full sleeves. Modifications are, we'll talk about that a little bit, but I've done my A-line shaping for my pear shape hips. And I have done some adjustments on stitch counts. I also did a deeper rib because I didn't want the neck to be too open. You can see this is actually, I'm really happy with this neckline. So, and if you were here last time, I'm wearing my knitting jewelry necklace from Jeanette Walker, and I will link her below because I love it. I get comments on it. I've been wearing it to work and I'm getting lots of people asking about it. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I did the Italian sewn bind off on all of my edges, both cuffs and the bottom of the sweater. So I'm just gonna sit down again and we'll have a chat. Now I just need to move you a little bit, so carefully. Okay, there, I think that's where I want to be. Perfect. So it's done. I'm wearing it. It's a DK sweater. I have to be honest, I don't wear it unless I'm going to be out and it's cold, because I find it just a little too warm for me inside. This is knit out of Yarn Indulgence's new DK base, Eco DK, Peruvian Highland wool non-superwash. Very, very soft, close to skin. This is the yarn, very plump DK. It's a little brighter. This is kind of the color it is. I had almost 2 full skeins left. That means I did it in just over 6 skeins of DK for my size. And some modifications we had already talked about a little bit, but I'll just kind of run through what I did. As I said, I lengthened the rib just to make my neckline not so open. I also shortened the yoke by about, well, I don't know because there's no schematic. I shortened the yoke to what I wanted it to be. One of my bugbears with this pattern was no schematic, so I had to do quite a bit of sweater math, and we've talked about that before. And I'm getting comments, I'm just gonna veer off a little bit. I'm getting comments, people saying, I'm glad you talked me out of knitting it. That's not why I'm giving you my feedback. I just want, this is just my personal feedback on this garment. Would I knit another Camilla Vad pattern? No. Because I just didn't like the way it was set up and the way it was written. It's just not, it wasn't an enjoyable knit that way. It took a lot of thinking and a lot of planning and a lot of modifying for me to get this the way I wanted it. That being said, that's just my experience. So don't let it dissuade you. If you want to knit it, go ahead, give it a whirl. My friend Sophie from Cozy Meadow Knits is knitting one, and she said there was quite a few YouTube tutorials right now on showing you how to do the grain stitch to clarify those written instructions. I didn't find the grain stitch particularly difficult. For me, it was just getting that fit with not having the schematics and the information I thought should be on that pattern. Okay, so back to the sweater. Deepened the rib, shortened the yoke so my armpit wasn't down here. I wanted it a little closer to my true armpit. That's where it is. So we still got a little bit. It's nice and comfortable. I could wear a shirt underneath it if I needed to. This is right now just with a bra just next to skin, which is really nice. And again, hoping I'm not going to overheat. I adjusted the number of stitches for my sleeve because I needed more stitches on my sleeve. And then I also, when I separated for the sleeves, so got to the end of the yoke, decided where I was going with it, and I moved 10 stitches from the back of the sweater to the front of the sweater. I do get quite a few questions about this, and I'm trying to find a way to explain it better. Basically, by doing this, I'm moving the sleeves back on the sweater. I'm making the back more narrow and the front fuller to accommodate my bust. Obviously, for me, my back width is shorter than my front width when you measure it. So an easy way to do it is take your measurement from armpit to armpit, front to back. You can have a friend or a partner help you with that measurement if you can't do it on your own. And that just tells you how many inches are different between your front and your back. I don't find this an issue with raglan, V-necks, things like that, but yoke sweaters, that equidistant back to front, I find if I don't make that adjustment, the yoke ends up like this because my boobs are trying to make room and things are shifting. As I said, I've worn this a few times now and it stays put, which is great. The neckline is not shifting and moving because it fits. And that's the biggest thing with yoke sweaters, I find, is by adjusting that front and back measurement, it allows me to get that fit so that the neckline isn't sliding around. I don't have to spend all day pulling it down because I'm getting choked as it's sliding up because it doesn't fit my chest. So I hope that I still owe you a sweater modification sweater. I know that a sweater modification video. I know that. And I do have notes from a workshop that I did earlier this year, and I will do that. It's just not been in the cards time-wise for me right now and mood-wise, and we'll talk about that a little later. So, field. What else did I have to say? I lengthened the body. I do have detailed notes in my Ravelry project page, which will be linked below, as to how many extra stitches I added to the sleeves and the separation modification to give me room for the front versus the back. But those numbers are going to be super individual. If you want to do that modification, like I said, you do need to do that measurement and then take your gauge numbers and figure out what the inch difference or centimeter difference is between your back and your front. Plug in your stitch gauge to that, and that will tell you how many stitches you should move from the back of your sweater to the front of your sweater to give you more room. It's like Vanna White my boobs. Okay. I think that's all I have to say about the field sweater. Love this yarn. I still have almost 2 full skeins, so I'm going to be knitting something else with it. Probably a pair of mittens, maybe a hat, not sure yet, but it's lovely. And I can't wait to do something else with it. I have 3 other finished objects in my quest to do gift knitting. November is wrapping up my gift knitting. As I mentioned last time, if you've been here before, December is totally knitting for me. I don't knit for anybody else in December. I craft and do the things I want to do for me. That's my gift to myself in December. And I am on track for that. So let me show you what I am doing. So finished objects, I'd shown you this pair last time in progress. This is a pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks. I can't remember how far along. I think I just started it and I was saying how enjoyable it was to knit. I'm just going to put one down to show you better. So Hermione's Everyday Socks is a free pattern on Ravelry. I cannot recommend it enough. The texture is addictive and it's just so fun to watch the yarn knit up, and then you get to see it in the stockinette and in the pattern on the foot, and yeah, love it. I put in a hot pink. It's not quite that hot pink, but the lighting this morning, that's what it's giving us. So the yarn that I used was Regia Design Line Calf Facet colorway, and I still have enough there easily for a pair of shorties or even a full pair if I do contrast heels, toes, and cuffs in another color. I didn't weigh it. This is a 56 stitch sock for one of my English aunts who put us up this summer. She had gone upstairs to grab a pair of socks because she said she always had cold feet, and I thought, yes. So these will be going in the mail this week. What are we? 27th. So I'm sure it will get there before Christmas. I'm just going to send it airmail, letter mail, and with her Christmas card. And if it's a few days late, it'll be fine. So that's one finished object. Hermione's Everyday, free pattern. It'll be linked below. Can't recommend that pattern enough. Love it. The other pair of socks that I finished, now I'm questioning myself. Had I shown you these last time in progress or started? So this is for one of my employees. He loves his hand knit socks. I think I was talking about whether I was going to cut up a tube and use one of the pre-knit tubes that I have and just put heels, toes, and cuffs. And for me, it just felt like a cheat. He is so appreciative of his hand knit socks that I decided I wanted to actually knit the whole pair. So I grabbed another Regia 4-ply from my stash. Manly dark colors. So I do have 2. I put navy blue contrast heels and toes. So this is a Fish Lips Kiss heel and the rounded toe from my sock pattern. That tends to be what I put in all of my socks now. I love a rounded toe, and I use the one that's in my pattern. I did the same on those Hermione's that I just threw on the floor. So I'm just going to put one of these down. I knit these cuff down magic loop. Did I use 9-inch? I think I used magic loop. And I just did a slip stitch pattern just again, you know my feelings on vanilla socks. They bore me to tears. And I mean, these aren't overly big man socks. It's only a size 9.5, 10, but they're still a good size. I love the way the yarn knit up, and those slip stitches just kind of gave me some fun texture. It's a little more difficult to see on this super stripy yarn, but you can see those slip stitches. When it's stretched out, it gives it a really nice kind of, yeah, it gives it a curvy kind of look as well in between the slip stitches. A scallopy look. I'll be able to show you a little better on another pair that I'm working on. But this is a pair done. And I was going to show you, where did I put that? Oh, yes. Last time I was here, I'd shown you a half-finished fingerless coastal drift mitten that was in progress. And I was questioning as I was looking at it and looking at the yarn whether I was going to have enough yarn for the second mitten. I didn't. So I finished this one, weighed it, and it weighs about 8 grams more than I have here, so that wasn't going to work. So I abandoned this. I was hoping I was going to find something in my stash that would have worked for the cuff, but they just got shoved in a bag and I moved on. So that half-finished object is still just a half-finished object, and I don't know whether it will ever be finished or whether I'll just rip it out and use the yarn for something else. But I played Yarn Chicken and lost at that one. I have another pair. They're damp, so I'm just going to show you one of those. This is another Coastal Drift mitten, fingerless version. And Coastal Drift mitten is a pattern from Menandrole, who is La Violette Knits on social media these days. And my husband just walked in and now he's panicking because he's got to be super quiet. It's fine. It's fine. You do you. I didn't want to close the door, so I didn't hot flash, hopefully. All right, so Coastal Drift mittens, I did that in this beautiful variegated, well, not variegated, tonal brown. This is a DK yarn. And so in order to fingerless it, I just did a few rounds of twisted rib, a couple rounds of knit, and cast off, and I did the same on the thumb. So these will be a gift, I'm not sure for who, and they are taking their sweet time to block and dry because it is damp and bleh, it's November. Hang on. There, that wasn't too bad. So that's it. 4 finished objects, sweater, 2 pairs of socks, and a pair of mittens. So the other whips I'm working on are things that I think, you know, some of them are new. I was about to say, they're things you've seen before, telling you fibs. So knitted knockers. I finished another one. This is an ongoing project. So knitted knockers are breast prosthetics for women who have mastectomies. It is a charity group called Knitted Knockers, and you can get the pattern for free. They ask you to use very specific yarns. This is the Cascade Ultra Pima. Yes, Cascade Ultra Pima cotton. And it is very soft, so easy washable and very soft to skin touch. So I have wound up the last skein that I have, and I will just keep working on these in the background when I need something just little and quick and fairly easy. As I said, once you get past the first few rounds, it's quite fiddly because you're on double pointed needles and you're only casting on like a few stitches, so it's fiddly for the first few rounds, and then it's nice and easy as you increase out. Things get more stable and it's easier to hold on to. It doesn't feel like you're going to lose the needles out of the yarn. And I could use wooden DPNs. They would be lighter. I wouldn't have to worry about that, but I don't own any because I don't like wood needles, so I'm not going to buy a set just for that. The next, what did you see last time? Maybe you haven't seen any of these. Maybe I think they are all new. So, in my little bobbins Christmas fairy lights bag, you can see it's kind of a glittery gold linen. One of those Christmas bags you like to pull out. I am working on another pair of Coastal Drift mittens, which kind of blend in to the background. So I have finished one full mitten, minus the thumb, because I was out at knit night and I didn't want to pick up the thumb and do that. So I'm holding 2 yarns double again here. So this is actually a Sport DK weight yarn from Deep Stash. It's an old base from Deborah, Yarn Indulgences, and some scrap mohair, and I'm really starting to be a little worried that I might be losing at Yarn Chicken again. But these two held together are making this lovely, speckly, fluffy fabric. So I have one done except for the thumb, and I am well on the way on the second one, which gives me hope that I'm not going to run out of the mohair. So I'm working these on 9-inch circulars, and then I will do the thumb on magic loop. So that is almost done. I just need to sit down for an hour and a half and get that done for a Christmas gift. So what are we, the 27th, Friday is the 1st. So I have a few days to finish off these last bits and bobs for gift knitting, so I can have a totally self-indulgent me December. So put that back in there. That needs to come up to the top of my pile. And in my glittery, wintry, Christmassy flower fairy bag, I think I showed you this bag last time, but it had a different project in it. I can't remember if I had started these or not. These are for a friend. These are man socks with massive feet, so I do them shorties. This is a size 15 man's foot. It looks ludicrous, doesn't it? So this is using a sock yarn, Deborah, Yarn Indulgences, who had knitted sock blanks, and she dyed them and then caked them or skeined them up. I like to drink. Speaking of, why don't I have one and maybe slow down a little bit? There. She took the blanks and skeined them or caked them up and sold them that way. This is super old stash. When I first went to see Deborah, I think in 2018, 17, way back in the early days of our friendship. She let me go through her kind of dead stock stuff she wasn't selling anymore. So I had quite a few skeins of this because sock yarn. And it's dyed kind of almost in a gradient. So you can see where it started up here in the yellow. This is, I've done it top down, magic loop, a heel flap and gusset down to my rounded toe. And then the second one kind of starts from there, and it's going down into some purples right now, and purples and beiges, and it's going to go back into the teal. So I'm just working through these. They are a Christmas gift. If I didn't get them done, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I'm using that slip stitch pattern I used on the Stripey Man socks. Again, just because I need something, I can't just do vanilla, but I needed something very easy. It's not showing up overly well on this either. I don't know if this is going to be a pattern or it's just me playing, but I just wanted to play. When you stretch it out, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Not really. Anyway, I'm just messing around. Knitting brainless socks. So I'm almost ready. Oh, shoot. I was knitting this while I was out. I've overshot the heel flap by a good ½ an inch. If it wasn't for you being here with you guys, that would have been a bigger swear word. But yeah, I'm going to have to rip that back. ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch, and start the heel flap back up here. Bugger. So I said, these, if they are done for Christmas, that would be fine. If they're not, that's not a big deal either. They're not technically a Christmas gift. Yeah. I've now, I have no desire to pick those up now. And then in my new Chestnut Fibres, it's not that bright, sock bag that I showed you last time with the lovely sheep wearing sweaters. My sister-in-law reached out to me and asked me if I would knit a pair of socks for her mum. Her mom's name is Roxy, and I've known my sister-in-law. They've been married for a lot of years, and they started dating in high school. So I've known Krista for probably close to 35 years, and her mom is Roxy, and she is a delight. And I said, absolutely. And Krista was like, I want to pay you to knit my mom a pair of socks. And I said, absolutely not. And we bickered back and forth a little bit, but I won. I'm knitting a pair of socks for Roxy as a gift, and I'm thrilled to do it. Because anybody who will wear hand knit socks and will enjoy them and love them, I am happy to do it. So I dug deep into my stash for something, because we kind of talked colors and sizing. Thankfully, she's a lady size 7. Yay. Teeny feet. And like pinks and yellows and maybe some greens. This doesn't hit the green function, but it does hit those pinks and yellows. So this is Turtle Pearl Yarns, who's local to me, and I'll talk more about that a little later. And this is City Girl. I have had this in my stash for a very long time. So let me show you what this looks like. I'm knitting these 2 at a time. This is a 75/25 sock yarn that is dyed in 2 cakes, so the stripes match. And I'm losing stitches off the end. Hold, please. I was knitting on these this morning and I forgot to shove my stitches back a little further on the needle so they wouldn't come off. That was very silly. Okay. They're not oriented the right way, but they're secure. They're not going to run away. So 2 at a time, which usually means there's yarn all over the place, and these ones do not disappoint. I am knitting my Bugtouche Boardwalk socks, and I've just adjusted it to fit with these thin yellow stripes. So City Girl is a gradient of pinks with this golden yellow mini stripe. So it's 2 to 3 rows depending on where you catch it. So I'm just adjusting my Bugtouche Boardwalk, ignoring the number of rows in between. But when I knit one plain round of the yellow and then I do the pearl round. Sometimes it doesn't quite work out, but most of the times it's working out really well. And I have found a really perfect golden yellow tonal out of my stash to do a heel flap with a garter edge heel. I thought it looked nice with the pearl stitch. I can't remember if that's in the pattern or not. Not terrible. I can't remember. This was the second pattern I ever brought out. Almost 2 years ago now, a year and 9 months or so, and I've forgotten some of the details. But so I've still got these stitches I'm threatening to lose. There we go. So 2 at a time, just because it came in 2 cakes and they already match, and you can see it's working out really well. Love them. And I think she's going to love them as well. So a size 7 foot, I really only have, I did measure these ones last night while I was knitting on them. I think I'm gonna, at the end of this pink stripe, I'm going to measure it, and I think that's going to get me there to do another one yellow pearl bump round, and then I can head into the toe. So these will be done this week for sure, and then the same thing, I can pop them in the mail with a Christmas card, and they'll be on their way to Ontario. That one's less of an issue for shipping because it's within Canada. It's just the overseas stuff to get that there on time. So that has been getting quite a bit of love just to try and get it finished. And the main thing I've been working on, because it seemed the biggest challenge, is my jelly roll blanket. So this is living in this little old-fashioned knitting bag I got at Fabric Land. I never remember. Anyway, so this is using my 2021 Sweet Skein of Mine Advent calendar, and I really wanted to get this finished before I start more Advent knitting. So these little bags just have teeny tiny bits left, and I have made some great progress on this. I am on the last strip. So let me get situated because it's big. So the Jelly Roll Blanket by Kay Jones with Bakery Bears. I decided to do it a little more regular. I wanted to break it up so it was a little less crazy. So I'm using Knit Picks Stroll Heather, Dove Heather, Stroll Fingering Dove Heather as the neutral, and alternating strips, rectangles. So it's a join as you go method, and I've been weaving the ends in as I go, and these are the only ones, I just have to trim them. They're already woven in, except for the top row. The top and the bottom have to be woven in yet. I haven't been weaving those in. But when I start, excuse me, a new color, I've been weaving them in as I go so I can just trim them. So that's the back side. Where am I at? So I am on the third rectangle of the last strip. So this was color 19. I'm going up to 24. So I just have to finish this strip up to the top. It's going to need a border. I'm going to do the I-cord border that's in the pattern. I'm not counting that. I'm considering it done once I get the strip done, and I wanted to get it done before Advent, before I start casting on new Advent projects, because this one's been lingering since December 2021. So as you know, I didn't buy an Advent this year. I built Advents. We'll get more onto Advent or holiday or countdown calendars, depending on how you talk about your holiday season. For me, it's Christmas, it's Advent. So, but the December holiday season, let's say that instead. So this is looking great. Like I said, I'm really happy. I put a stitch marker in. Yeah. So this one right here is where I started when I picked it back up about 6 weeks ago. I think I've showed you this 2 podcasts now. So I've done 3 full strips, 3.5 strips, plus, like I said, this last one is started and ready to go. I will get this finished. It will be done except for the border by Thursday, November 30th. You heard it here, and I will show you that next time I come to visit. I'm almost there. So, and then I had measured the rectangles, weighed them out the first time when I first started this, because I figured I could get, they were 20-gram minis. If I could do repeat the colors 4 times, which is what I'm doing, I would have enough yarn. But I've actually got 2.5 grams left. So I'm unsure what I'm going to do with those. I'm going to have 24 little 2.5 gram. So they're not big enough for heels, toes, and cuffs, or, so do I make a magic knot ball, or do I make a teeny tiny Cozy Memories? It would be a mat of some sort. 6x4. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but this is what I got left. So like I said, I was thinking maybe I'll just magic knot them all together and throw them into something, or maybe I'll just make teeny tiny cozy memories squares. Yeah. So that is old Advent, old holiday countdown ongoing. Just checking. I do have a couple of other whips that I've shown you that I haven't touched. I'm not showing you because I haven't touched them. They don't look any different than the last time I showed them to you. So they aren't making an appearance this time. Probably won't see them again until January, I would wager. I'm just looking. I forgot to grab something. Oh, there it is. I'll be able to get it later. So future knitting. I had shown you last time the yarns I wanted to cast on for my Zweig sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Put it here. There's a few of us knitting together. Well, some of them have started knitting. I have still not started knitting because I'm in a conundrum as to sizing. Hang on one second. I'm just going to grab you the yarns, and I did swatch. Hang on. I'm just going to pause you. Okay, I just saved you reaching and stretching and perhaps groaning a little. So I had shown you these yarns last time. It is a Circus Tonic Handmade as the main color. I think the colorway is Moonshell with a sport fingering, 65% silk, 35% mohair in this rich navy. There's pops of navy blue in this variegated. And I just shoved the needle in the ball so I knew which size I swatched with. Very technical. I think I've started a project page. I may or may not have put the needle size in there. So I said last time I wasn't sure if I was going to knit the little cabled X's. So the color's blowing out a little bit. There we go. So you can see I have swatched, and I did use the X stitch to see, because I thought it would be nice to do. When I knit my first one, I really enjoyed doing those cables. They're just a twisted stitch basically, so you do it without a cable needle. Super fast. There's enough stockinette to enough rounds in between, and yeah, I find again it just keeps me going, gives me something to look forward to beyond acres of stockinette. So the reason I haven't cast this on yet, other than trying to get the Christmas knits on the go, which is probably a good plan to not overstretch myself, is I'm struggling to pick a size. I don't know what size I want to knit, so I'm just waffling about that in the background. So I'll probably start knitting it in December. I just have to decide. So that will be coming. It's still future knitting. It was future knitting last time. It will be future knitting. I have now swatched. I've got my needle sizes. I know what I want to do, except what size I want to do. So let me just get rid of that so those needles don't clack. I saw online Krupa Knits on Instagram. She had posted some really gorgeous color work, socks and cowl. She's got a whole line. I think it's called Easy Peasy. I'll put pictures in up here. I've never done a full color work sock. I've done a little bit here and there, so I decided I wanted to try that in December. I don't think it'll be my Christmas Eve cast on. I think it will be just a sock for me in December. I wanted to use some hand spun, and I've been kind of waffling. So this is leftover Happy Hippie from Sweet Skein of Mine that I knit my Orbits sweater last year. Put a picture in here. Why do I do this to myself? I will, I promise. I'll put a picture in here. And some hand spun. So this is a merino bamboo nylon 3-ply that would be perfect for socks. I don't know if they're too samey, whether I might lose some of the color work motifs. but I think this is what I want to do. This would be the main color and this would be the contrast color. This is 150 grams, so even doing that, I would still have loads left to do a full pair of socks for myself. If this doesn't work out, I may just do a pair of hand spun socks. But that's kind of what I'm thinking I want to do with the easy peasy socks, full color work, and yeah, work with my tension. I'll probably do it on 9-inch circulars. I just have to figure out the right size. I'm usually a 2.25 millimeter sock knitter. I believe I'm going to have to do it on a 2.5 for sure, maybe a 2.75 to give me enough stretch on those color work. So this is kind of a fun experiment play for me in December. So that is on the, definitely in the plans. A Christmas Eve cast on. I haven't decided yet what yarn I'm going to use. I do have a couple of different fun Christmassy ones. I was talking last time about a Christmas Advent countdown sock. I hadn't gotten one yet. And where did I put that? I had shown you a skein of yarn from Area 51. I wasn't sure how the self-striping was, and it's equidistant, so I could do that. So that was home for the holidays. I know Bella had some in her shop last time I looked. I'll put a picture in up here to show you what that looks like. But I won a giveaway. The Grocery Girls had an Advent giveaway, and I was one of the very lucky winners. I'm sure they had thousands of entries. It was on Instagram, so I got a lovely message about a week and a half ago saying that I had been picked as a winner. Yay! And they had sorry about that. I think 4 or 5 different Advents that very kind dyers had sent them for giveaways. And the question they had asked was, which would you like? And I had said if I had to pick one out of all of the amazing ones, I would choose the Freckled Whimsy Advent sock, countdown sock, which is you knit a stripe a day from December 1st to December 24th, and at the end of it, you got a pair of socks, fundamentally. So it hasn't arrived yet, so I don't know what I'm getting. So depending on what that is, if it comes while it might come today or tomorrow. So if it comes while I'm still editing before I've uploaded, I will do a little insert somewhere and show you what it looks like and talk a little more. But until I see it, it's going to be a surprise. Yeah, I have no idea what's coming, which is kind of fun. If it's not socks, this will probably be my socks. I'll make up 2 cakes, I'll knit them 2 at a time, do a stripe a day, and that'll be my holiday countdown socks starting December 1st. The other project I'll be doing through December is a crochet blanket. If you watch my mini-sode where I talked about Christmas planning, where I built my own Advent, I'll put a little link up here with the card, one side, to that episode if you're interested. I built my own Advents from leftovers, and I want to do a crochet blanket using crochet grannies of some sort. I don't know if I'm going to go fancy and pick it like a floral kind of granny, or I'm just going to do a regular so many round granny. Join as you go. I got some undyed sock yarn from Deborah at Yarn Indulgence. This is her new Splendid sock, and I've got 2 countdown calendars that I made myself. It's all fingering yarn. My plan is to hold the fingering weight double. So double on itself. So the color it'll just be a single color, but thicker, and then border it with the undyed and join as you go with the undyed. So I have a few options. I still haven't decided, and I probably won't decide until December 1st when I open my first Advents and I start crocheting. I don't do a lot of crochet, and I want something that's achievable. I'm going to be doing 2 10-gram minis a day, but held double. So we're only talking like a small, I don't know how far they're going to go, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I want to do a so many round granny and then a round of the cream and then join as you go to the next one in the cream. I've never done join as you go. So I don't know if I'm biting off more than I can chew, but I would like to do 2 squares a day, join them, weave in as I go. That's the plan for my holiday countdown calendars that I made. And if I get behind, I get behind. I'm off between Christmas and New Year's, so I'll have lots of Twixtmas time that I can just sit under a blanket and crochet. And crochet's fast, but I'm not a confident crocheter. So we'll see. We'll see. Zwei, crochet blanket, those easy peasy socks, my Christmas Eve cast on. I haven't decided what yarn I'm going to use yet for that and what pattern I'm going to use. I will give you a little more information on that next time I come and see you. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Let's hop to handspun, because I have done some spinning just to finish off the spinning projects I had. I've been itching to start a new spin, but I've not been letting myself while I'm trying to finish the blanket and the last of the Christmas socks. So I guess on my December plans will also be some spinning. Can't wait. I've got some beauties back here that I picked up at various yarn shows over the summer and the fall. I don't know which way I'm going to go because they're all just gorgeous, but I'm going to pick one and I'm just going to spin and enjoy that calm, meditative happiness, which is what I need in December as things get a little frantic around our small business, our little shop. So the first one I'm going to show you is my finished spin from Firewood Fibre Co. They are in Manitoba, and I picked this up at Knit City, Montreal. This is Johnny Jump Up. It was 100 grams of 100% Polwarth. And you can see there I wrote, I got 332 yards in 100 grams. So this is a sport weight. But I think it turned out really, really well. I'm quite happy with that. I'm sure it's very thick and thin. Somebody from my local knitting group very kindly messaged on my picture and asked if she could buy it. I've never sold my handspun because I don't think it's just not consistent enough as far as the thick and the thin bits. But I'm going to love knitting with this. Again, my endless, every time I show you a handspun, I say, ooh, it's going to be the color work for a yoke. I have a gray DK, Cascade BFL, a very light dove gray, and I'm thinking this would be gorgeous in the yoke. Yeah, that's my first thought. So I saved the tag of this. Now that I've shown you, I will tape it up like that and shove it in my stash so I know what it is and what my yardage is. It's a 2-ply. I probably should write that on there. It was just a 2-ply that I did, but that will go into my handspun yarn stash to be used at a later date. And the other thing that I was working on that I really wanted to get finished was the gradient spin. So this was the huge bat. I'll put a picture in here, a rainbow bat. It's merino and merino mohair, wool and mohair, 80 wool and 20 mohair. Yes. That's the thing with my handspun. I don't keep track of it. That's why I have to write it on the tags, because I don't use Ravelry for my handspun. I'm not a journaling person, so I tend to have to go by memory, which isn't necessarily the best plan. So I do write on the tags when I tag them up. So this has been washed and set. The twist has been set, but I have not run it through my yarn counter, so I have no idea what my yardage is. So this is the one I split the bat into 2. And my plan was to ply those 2 plies together. But when I split it, I just ripped it in half, ripped it into color strips and started spinning the first half. I didn't weigh it. and then realized as I got into the second one that the color distribution was not good. I've got more burgundy on one, more purple on another. The weight was vastly different. I think there was about a 20-gram differential in the weight, so that wasn't going to work. So I ended up having to 3-ply chain ply it. So by chain plying it, it's almost like you're crocheting with it with your hands, and you're spinning it back on itself to create a 3-ply. So the barber poling is minimal, and I've kept that color gradation a little more, not solid, but a little more consistent, I guess. You can see there is a little bit of barber poling here and there, but definitely less than if I had 2-plied it on itself. So I have 2 skeins. One is 100 and something grams and one is 90 something grams, because as I said, they weren't the same. So I did them as 2 separate skeins. I need to run them through my yarn counter and then tag them and skein them up. I have no idea. This might be fun for an alpine bloom. I bought the alpine bloom pattern, but I have a feeling this is going to be too thick. It's definitely not a fingering. Well, parts of it are. Again, it's that consistency thing. So it's going to run anywhere from a light DK through sport to a fingering, I would wager. But I might be able to make that work for my alpine bloom for one of them. I thought that would be fun. So that is complete, as I said, except for the final weigh, measure, and then skein them up. So it's nice and poofy and light. I'm quite pleased with the spin itself. Chain plying sometimes can be a little challenging, but I'm pleased, very pleased with that overall. So let me just lay that somewhere so it doesn't get tangled. So that's spinning finishes. I didn't think to, as I said, something beautiful on there is going on to my wheel in December. And when I come to see you next, I will show you that. And we're going to move on to the last giftaway. So in the last episode, I had asked you to use the word mitten. I also included mittens just to make sure I caught everybody. And that was to win a copy of Manon's Coastal Drift Mitten Patterns that I've been addicted to knitting. And I had picked up yarn from Manon's store, La Violette Yarn Gift & Co. before she closed. The last day that she was open to the public, we went in and met up with a friend and had a little get together. And it was really nice. I was glad to be there on the last day. And I picked up these beautiful yarns, Cascade BFL in this beautiful burnt orange, and Julie Aslan, Lizu DK, not quite that purple, and I was going to include 1 skein each and 1 mitten pattern. So the winners are, we had 276 entries. Thank you so much to everybody who came in and chatted and talked about mittens, layering fingerless mittens over regular gloves. Genius. And whether they needed mittens or liked knitting mittens or had never knit mittens, we had a lot of fun mitten chat. And I was trying to respond without using the word mitten. So sometimes you got a little M and then some characters ending with an N. So I hope you realize that's what the word I was trying to use without using the word so that the random comment picker could do its job. So we have 2 winners. The first is that I chose is Helen. So the information's on the screen here. And the second is Ellen, and that's here as well. So Helen and Ellen, I didn't realize that when I pulled them. Well, it was random, but as I'm saying it, I'm like, ooh. Whoever reaches out to me first gets to pick their color. Whoever the second one is gets whatever. If you have an expressed opinion one over the other, if you don't care, yeah. So whoever reaches out to me first gets to pick their color. So Helen and Ellen, please reach out to me. The email address listed below, I'll also put it on the screen. It's nancy@knitsiphappy.com, and I will get the Ravelry code to you right away, and then I will mail you your yarn. So I was going to purchase the pattern. I hadn't told Manon I was doing a giveaway, and because I wanted to purchase the pattern, because I knew if I told her I was going to do a giveaway, she would gift me the pattern, but I wanted to purchase them. Well, I saw Mana. Well, she watched the podcast. We were chatting. Anyway, she sent me coupon codes. And I was like, I wanted to buy them. Anyway, so Mana has very kindly gifted us 5 codes, actually. So we're going to use 2 on the giftaway here. And then if you follow me on Instagram over the next couple of days, I'm going to do a giveaway, a gift away on Instagram for the other 3 patterns that I can just send digitally to 2 winners on Instagram. So if you missed out today and would like another chance at the pattern, follow me on Instagram. That'll be coming up sometime, maybe the first day of December to celebrate. I haven't thought much beyond that. So Helen and Ellen, can't wait to hear from you for these beauties. And we're going to have another gift away today. I hadn't planned on this, but lovely Christine, Chestnut Fibres, the beautiful sheep bag, she had messaged me after the podcast because she had a flurry of orders and inquiries about those sheep bags in her shop. And she very kindly offered to send a bag as a prize. And when it arrived and I saw it, I realized we had to do this quickly because this has to go out to somebody that hopefully can use it in December or over the holiday season. So it's these adorable snowmen. The lining is this beautiful green stripey. There is a zippered pocket in there with a snowman zipper pull. And Christine always includes some little ring stitch markers. Sorry about the glare. And she also included a needle cozy. And somebody my brain just blanked out there for a second. Somebody asked me how to use them. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. And a couple of cute stickers. You are awesome. And just a little snowman in a snow globe. How cute. So, Chris very kindly sent this. It came in the mail and I was little heart poppers. Thrilled. And then so when I saw it, I realized this had to go out quickly. And then coming up in acquisitions, I'll show you what's going on. But I had picked up some, after I said there wasn't going to be any acquisitions because I wasn't going to have any opportunity to buy yarn, there was opportunity to buy yarn. So I have this Tiny Human Knits. This is Sweater Weather. And I thought this would be a great combination with this bag. This is a factory second from Laura. So I'm not sure what I don't know if I don't know if it's a knot. I didn't ask. Maybe I should have, but I thought it's beautiful and I'm sure one of you talented knitters can work around whatever the second issue. It might just be a tester skein. I don't know. But this is the prize. But we're going to have a really quick turnaround on this. As I said, today's November 27th. I am going to record a little mini-sode on December 6th, showing you what I'm doing for my holiday countdowns, Christmas countdowns, the pattern I've picked for my Advent blanket. We're just going to have a little short mini episode because December is busy. In December, there's a load of Vlogmas episodes and everybody's going to be watching Vlogmases and we don't need a long episode for me in there as well. So I thought we would do a quick mini-sode before I get too busy at work and life gets too busy in general, and I will pick. So please enter. I'm going to say, I did have a question and it's escaped me. Hang on, I'll keep talking. It might come back to me. I'm going to record on December 6th. So I will close this draw at 8 a.m. on December 6th, Atlantic Winter Standard Time, whatever we are now. And that way I can draw the prize and I can get it in the mail hopefully quickly. And you might get it in time for, depending on where it's going, how far around the world it's going, I can get it to you before the holidays. That is my hope. is to get this to you before the holidays. This beautiful self-striping yarn with a mini, I should tell you a little more. It's a 50 gram, it's an 80-20. It's a 50 gram main skein for the stripe. Hello. You're not going, I'm going to cover my face. Is that going to do it? No. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Sorry, guys. There it is. So this is from Laura, Tiny Human Knits, who is in Fredericton, New Brunswick. And this great bag from Chris, who's in Nova Scotia. So it's a little maritime gift from these lovely makers to you. December 6th, 8 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Tell me, any comment will do. Tell me what you're knitting. Are you doing any holiday countdowns? Are you still gift knitting? Tell me anything that you would like to tell me in your comment, and that will enter you in for this draw. It's going to be a quick 7-8 day turnaround on this, just because I'd like to get it out to you. So that is the giftaway winners, and a new giftaway I hadn't planned on doing, but come on. I can't wait till next Christmas to send this out to you. It has to go to somebody. Toot sweet. Okay, so I promised, so we've just finished the giftaway. I promised I would show somebody how to use the little needle cozy. I had to take a little pause there because I tried to do it and it went shockingly badly. And I realized I couldn't do it on a 2 at a time sock. If anybody does know how to do it on a 2 at a time sock, I couldn't get it to fit and stay. Okay, so needle cozy. They work really well for double pointed needles because you can just fold your double pointed needles, your 3 double pointed needles flat, and pop it up in there and pop it around. That way your needles can't come back down and you don't lose your stitches. So on Magic Loop, I've just grabbed this Christmas sock back out. It's the same idea. So we've got the needles pointing one way and the cable coming out the other. So, oh, just unpop these. There we go. Oh, poppers are so much fun, aren't they? So what I do is I slide the Magic Loop in one end. The needles up are running across the top horizontally, and you've got the cord hanging out. And you want to have the knitting in between the 2 poppers, and then just pop and pop, and then it's not going anywhere because this is on one side of the popper, your cable's on the other side of the popper, your needles are up the top, and your knitting itself is in between the 2 poppers. So it stops them from coming off the ends of the needles if they're in your project bag and moving around a lot. So that is how I use them when I forget, except when I forget to use them, which you saw earlier. So this will go back in the giftaway bag. Oh, it's like popping the plastic bubbles. So satisfying. Okay. So I forgot to include in my notes design chat. I had to give you a little update. The Crooked Cube socks that I showed you last time. We were in the middle of a fundraiser for the Royal Canadian Legion as we were coming up to Remembrance Day, or Veterans Day in the US, remembering to support veterans. And thank you to everybody who purchased and shared and showed their love. I really appreciate it. I was able to donate $310 to the Royal Canadian Legion. I'll put a little screenshot up there that I used for Instagram. I appreciate it so much. And I've been seeing some fun Crooked Cube socks appearing in my feed. And I said in my Instagram post yesterday how much I love it when you guys tag me and show me the socks that you're knitting from my patterns. It's just, it amazes me every time, and I thank you if you take a minute just to tag me and show me what you're knitting out of my patterns. I love to see the yarn combinations, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thank you. There is nothing on the needles right now for designs, but I think there will be soon. So we're going to go into acquisitions and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to start with, I received a lovely box from Camilla. Trying to get off the glare. There we go. Cami Jo Knits. in Denmark. This yarn took its sweet time getting to me. We were getting a little concerned, but it arrived and it was totally worth the wait. Camilla sent me a lovely little note and sent me some yarns to do some sock designs with. So I did a little reel, I'll show you some good color. You know, the color was good, so I'm not sure what the color is going to do here. So I'll insert that while I'm talking. But I have caked up one of those skeins. I'm assuming Njord, rhyming with fjord. This is a DK sock, and I thought would be great. Yeah, it's blowing out a little bit. So yeah, the picture, the color in the video that I just showed is closer. So this is an AT20 merino nylon sock DK base. So my plan is to knit a cozy pair of wintry themed socks. Njord is the Norse god of the sea, waves. I did a little research and found some images, and so I'm going to be playing around with that theme a little bit. But I just wanted to say thank you to Camilla for sending me some beautiful yarns. I will show you the other ones right here, even though they may not look like they should. The other two are fingering weight. So this is Camijo sock. It's another 80/20, but it is so soft and it's got a bit of a halo to it. Yeah, you can see that. It's got some floof factor to it. It's quite lovely. The colorway is Sand Viper. So a really nice neutral with little pops and speckles in there. And the other one is Merino sock. It's 80/20 again, but looks like a 2-ply high twist. Yep, it's a 2-ply high twist. And this is Mocha Rose, and it's beautiful. Really lovely. So I am definitely going to have fun playing with those. Thank you so much, Camilla. I did thank her already, and I can't wait to cast on those DK ones to get started. So that's also going onto my December list. We'll see how far we get and how my brain power holds up for the month. So that's that. What else? So acquisitions proper now. So that yarn was sent to me, and thank you. The free yarn in the mail is always lovely. As I said, I wasn't expecting to have any acquisitions for you this time because I had zero plans to do any yarn shopping because I have done a lot in the last few months. But we went to Sussex for our NB knitters, our New Brunswick knitters. We have a get-together every few months in Sussex, New Brunswick, which is kind of equidistant to a lot of places. It's kind of a good central location for those of us in Moncton, St. John, Fredericton area. We can get there quite reasonably. So there were 16 or 17 of us, I think. If you are in the area and interested to be included in the Instagram chat group where we do all of the planning, please just reach out to me and I will add you in. You can reach out to me here or through Instagram and I will add you to the group. Laura from Tiny Human Knits came with a suitcase and a box of yarn, which was very unexpected, but very enjoyable. I may be putting in a little bit of footage here as I'm talking. I did take some. I haven't taken much B-roll or fancy footage. We'll see. I might be going out later and see if there's any fun Christmas lights or anything I can snag to show you. But yeah, we'll get into that, a little more into that in a second. Anyway, Laura brought some beautiful things. I've already showed you sweater weather that's going into the Giftaway. I picked up another factory second called Winter Morning. It's a 50 gram. 200 yards, 50 gram. So I just thought that was beautiful. And then I picked up 2 skeins of Dusk. and she had some samples on her table of what these looked like knit up, and I may or may not have pictures or film of that. If I do, I'll put them in. So yes, unexpected, but very much enjoyed. And the other thing that happened in Sussex that day is we did a mini swap. So everybody brought little baggies of 5 10-gram minis. And I took 6 or 7 sets, and I came home with, I think, 6 sets. So that's actually 30. So here's my advent for next year already. My holiday countdown is done. So when January rolls around and I've got empty bags or boxes from my build my own advent that I did earlier in the fall, I'm going to do that in January. So I really won't remember what's in there. And I have my first, perhaps only, advent holiday countdown calendar for next year ready to go. So that was great and really enjoyable. Oh, I just found these pins at the Giftaway this month, the Coastal Drift. So Helen and Ellen will also get these I like big balls pins. I just found these in the bottom of my podcast basket. So those will go with the yarns. So that was the end of Sussex. And then I'm going to take this out of this bag. Turtle Pearl Yarns is a self-striping Canadian dyer, and she's actually extremely, local to me, and reached out and is doing purchases through my business, small business. So we have been doing some bartering. The yarns that I gifted to, that I took to England and gifted to Gaina, Allie, and Emma from Eldenwood Crafts, Allie from Little Drops of Wonderful, and Gaina, Tales from Cuckoo Land. They were all from a barter I had done with Emily. And she has made some more purchases, so I have done a barter for more yarn. Two sets weren't quite ready yet, so she's going to drop them off to me this week, but I still thought I would show you the one that she did bring to me this week, or last week, when she picked up her product. Is this sock set. There we go. So these are the 2 skeins of self-striping with a matching mini, and this is called Lady Amalthea. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but you can see how the striping is going to work. It's kind of a unicorn rainbow is how how Emily described it. That's how it's going to work up. How pretty is that? So, I'm going to have 3 sock sets coming for this round, and I'm going to pick one of them, and that'll be a giveaway. I'll use some of them for giveaways in the new year. So, I said, after I told you I wasn't going to have any acquisitions last time, here we are again with more yarn. But to be fair, I didn't buy much. It was gifted or exchanged or... And I went to the mail this morning, and there was a card in the mail for me. It's a handmade card, which I have great appreciation for. I usually make my Christmas cards, paper crafting, and I didn't have time or the mood this year for it, so I haven't. I have bought Christmas cards. But this is a beautiful handmade card from Christine in Manitoba. And she sent me a couple of Stitch Markers Progress Keepers. Oh, hang on a second. Let's let the light adjust. There we go. So we've got a wine glass, and I think that says Sip Knit Sip. Yes. Sip Knit Sip. So Christine said that she thought of me when she got these, and I will use them in good health. Thank you, Christine. I really appreciate that. What a lovely little surprise in my mailbox this morning. So, life chit chat. As I said, it's November, it's gloomy. I struggle this time of year. I'm struggling with my mood a little bit this year. I'm finding it exhausting to people. Work is, I deal with the public. I run a retail store, and putting on that happy face is a struggle these days. I'm not quite sure why, so I'm trying to power through it. I'm going to put some twinkly lights up today. I'd like to get the Christmas tree up in the next few days as well, but I'm looking to buy a new Christmas tree. I'm an artificial Christmas tree fan with pre-lit. Thank you very much. And we need a new one, and I can't seem to find one that I like, so I need to go out and about later and try and find one. So I've been a little grumpy. Not grumpy. I've been quiet around the house, I think, was probably the best way to put it. I find putting on that face and being the super bonhomie, person out in public, I'm finding it quite tiring to do that because it's not my natural state. And most times it doesn't, it's hard work to be something that you're not. And that's what I find I have to be a lot of times in my small business. I can't be an introverted knitter. I know I'm amongst my people, and I know a lot of us feel the same way. The face I have to put on for the outside world. Some days it's easier than others, and some days it's harder. And right now I'm running into it's a harder battle right now to be that character, I guess. But it'll come, it'll go. It's the days. We're another 4 weeks, and the days start getting longer, and that will help. Winter is long in Canada, so I'm trying to make the best of it, but I don't enjoy this time of year. The other thing that I owe you is a picture of Samantha in her snowfall sweater scarf. I probably will not have it to add to this podcast. They were here, her and Rob and Archie were down last weekend visiting briefly. They came down for we had a family brunch, and then they headed back home to Fredericton. Rob is my daughter's fiance. He is in the Canadian military armed forces. He is being deployed to Latvia for 6 to 7 months. He leaves today. So Sam has been busy and distracted and trying to enjoy as much time with him as possible. So I'm trying to leave her alone. If I don't have a picture to attach to this episode, I will be showing it on Instagram. I will also put it on the mini-sode. I will have one by then because I am going to go up and spend some time with her as well. But I'm just trying to leave her alone so her and Rob can enjoy their last few days together before he is gone he probably won't get home until June. We're looking at June for him to come home. So that, she loved it. She put it on and it fits. I had to seam up the arm. I brought it up. It was seamed only to about her elbow. I brought it up about 2 more inches up into her bicep because it felt more secure for her. It wasn't moving around as much. But as I said, no pictures as of yet. She was in her pajamas trying it on and didn't want to have her picture taken for me to show on the internet. Imagine. Yeah, so that'll happen. I will show you that next time I see you, hopefully. So I think that is it, my friends. I'm looking at the chaos around me. If I have forgotten anything, as I said, we're going to have a mini-sode that I'll record on December 6th, and it will be out to you a couple of days after that. And then that will be the last time that I see you until Twixtmas, I would guess, between Christmas and New Year's. So I will say thank you. Thank you for being here. As I said, I've had quite a few new followers. If you are new around here, I hope you've enjoyed it and hung around to the bitter end. If I wasn't for you, you've already gone. But I appreciate you all being here and having a chat with me. And I hope you enjoy your knitting and your holiday countdowns and your twinkly lights and are getting joy from wherever you can in these times. Thank you for being here. Happy knitting. Happy sipping. Cheers.